Alright, so today I'm going to be making the Armored Cannon Beetle from the Pikmin series. Uh, I've always liked this kind of enemy. Unfortunately, he is not as intimidating as he looks. This would be considered a boss enemy from the first Pikmin game, but I mean, even in that game, once you know how to beat him, he's not that scary. Um, yeah, he looks more intimidating than he actually is. This, along with a lot of other designs of the era, shape-wise, it's very simple. Like, we're not using any complex geometry. You know, you start with the sphere, you kind of go from there. Um, Again, like my other low poly models, especially of the Pikmin ones, I don't have any reference sheets for like front and side. So all I have is like maybe the in-game model to look at. I kind of don't want to just rip a model from the game and kind of use that as reference because at that point I already have the model. Better to do this for practice because sure, it might not be 100% accurate to the shape, but you still get the point across as long as you get the design across. It's an armored beetle with the little snout thing in the front that he shoots rocks from. He's got four legs, you know. As long as you get those things done when it comes to enemy design, it's still recognizable, which is good. So here I'm just defining these hard edges. Those blue lines is like defining hard edges. They're not seams. That's just where I want the shading to be separate. Uh, this differentiates just so like the light hits it differently while I'm modeling, so that I can get a better sense of scale and a better sense of how things are looking. It's a way of separating the model without actually separating the geometry. Um, the wings are like shelled out from the back part, so it's just like I duplicate the back part of the model and just attach those ends, and you'll see that come out like when I rig it. It's very simple. It's just I'm duplicating the backside and then just attaching those first vertices to the model, just so that it's all connected. Here I'm using placeholder materials as usual. This isn't the exact color that it's going to be, but it'll be pretty close. And again, it's good to use just some materials to separate. It's kind of like blocking out certain parts of the model, just to make sure that's where I'm going to put my seams. Like I know the red part, I'm going to texture that separately. I know the underside, I'm going to texture that separately. And everything that's purple will use, the same base color, more or less. The legs, you'll see me doing a lot of adjustments because I couldn't quite get it right. I didn't want to extrude. I was between like extruding from the model or making them separate objects. And I came to the point where like, oh, I can just make them, I think it's easier to make them separate objects and just put them like inside. You do this a lot with low poly models, except this one. This is kind of like, it's a bit more polygons, but this is a boss enemy. So it's going to be big. I wanted to have like more level of detail. So I believe I have it under about 500 tries. I have it under 500 tries, the final model. And yeah, the legs just took a lot of adjustment because I wanted a default position for the legs to be. Looking back, I should have just put these legs straight out, like spread flat out, and then used the rig to pose the legs in a standing position like this. That would be how to go about it for the next time I want to do something like this, because you saw there was a lot of adjusting there, just to get it just right. Next time I'll just have those flat out, and then with the rig, pose them in a standing position. But it still works right here. You'll see from the side view, now that I look at it, the final design is more bulky, it's not that spherical from the side view. But I kind of like this design anyways. It is a beetle. Here I am just making the rig here, like putting some simple bones. The rig is like very simple. I don't really need to go through the basics of this. It's more of like just putting bones where I want to influence. A lot of it is just mirroring the bones. Nothing too complex. The only part that I was worried about was exactly how I was going to do the wings. But as long as I kept them separate, they're still attached to the model. They're only separated from where they spread out. So from that separation, I have just one bone for the wing, and it's that one you see right there. The only thing I had to make sure was just to make sure that bone was bending at the right angle, and I put it exactly where the base of the wing is, where it's connected. Alright, so here's the final model of the Armored Cannon Beetle, right here. You can see, the original model from Pikmin 1, which I used mostly as a reference, is a bit more bulkier, like in the front here. But this guy has kind of like an even body all around. But, that's okay. That's how you know mine is kind of unique. Show it with the material here. the wings, so you can see his backside, they're still connected to the model right here, right? Yeah, so if I hide that, you can see like the backside. This is how it looks without wings at all. The eyes, just a little six-sided sphere that's tucked inside the model right there. The legs are just like separate, they're separate objects like that. The front and back ones are pretty much mirrored. I just edited the back ones, a bit. Then this one up here, this is the part that he inhales, and this is where he spits rocks at. So he's going to be spitting rocks and moving this part of the mouth more, so I made it more rounder, more detail. The underside you don't see enough, but I did texture it anyways. Like, you don't really see underneath this creature a lot. Again, this is a completely unshaded model, right? Yeah, so if I use the default shader instead, like this one right here, use that. This is how the model would look shaded, right? But I'm trying to get better at like my texturing, so I want all that stuff to be in the texture itself, like all the dark. I kind of gave them sort of like an off purple shade, just to differentiate. You can see it stands out better like at a distance. I don't use the texture painting method that Blender has because it doesn't support layers. There might be an add-on for it, but I don't like to use add-ons. I just do it the old-fashioned way, where it's like you lay out your UVs, you lay out your, you export your UVs, all of them, bring them into a paint program, and go ahead and paint them in GIMP or Photoshop in this case. So as I'm working on each like part of the texture, I use just like black and white color with a soft brush, just to establish highlights and dark areas of shading. So I have one layer just for the dark parts of my shading, like that, and one layer for the light parts, right? So if I didn't use that, me taking that off, update this texture, this is how it would look flat. You see? It's very flat looking. It's not bad. But in this case right here, this is where I probably would want to use shading, right? Like have the model shaded, the surface of it shaded, so like this. Just so I can get some shading right here. But the problem with this is, you see how like you can easily see the separation of objects? You can see the hard edges stand out more. So I don't want to rely on viewport or global shading or how the model is shaded. Better texture practice is for me to just, paint the shadows directly onto the model on a different layer altogether, and then paint the highlights altogether on a separate, layer like that. And if I can update the texture, this gives me, flat shading, but as you can see, it's actually manually painted on. And I always like that effect, especially for low poly. I don't have to worry about how light is hitting the model or stuff like that. So now let's look at this rig here. This thing on the floor controls the entire model. Each leg has like a basic IK, very simple IK to use. One bone at the ends to control the whole leg, right? And then I'll have one bone. Let's see if I can see it. There's one bone like at the base, right here, like so you can see. It's at the base of the leg, but it controls in case I just need to move it over like that, like this, or if I need to move the bone back. Just with these two, I can get a lot of mileage just using those two control points, like that. You see? His little eyes right here. Because he has no pupils or anything like that, his eyes just kind of glow, they beam out. It's good to have the eyes movable, so like you can actually, there's ways to create expression. If I put his eyes down, maybe move them in a little, like that, so he's looking down. I mean, now he looks like a sad beetle. This bone up top here, this is a part for the main body, basically, for the main backside. All of this is what that moves right here, right? So these are attached to the body. I just put the hard edge so they kind of separate. But if I can bring these out like that. Here we go. So let me just spread these out. There we go. And then of course the wings would come in actually together like that. And this is how the wings would come, like when you throw Pikmin right here into its little snout where he inhales before he attacks, and his back will open up and kind of crawl around, and this is where he's vulnerable. You throw the red Pikmin, or any kind of Pikmin, preferably red. You throw it on the back right here. So yeah, while it's open in the back, he'll try to like wiggle away. So I have this bone right here controls the bottom, like that. The back half of the body like that. And of course I have this one down here for the snout, like that. This part where he inhales, where he sucks in the air, that's like his vulnerable spot. And then scale it up when he shoots like when a rock gets blasted out of his mouth, you could probably scale it up like that. So yeah, this guy with the rig, he is ready to roll. He's ready to crush some Pikmin here. Alright, that's it for this model here. I'm probably going to do some more Pikmin models in the future. So stay tuned for that.